Unturned Blackout is by far one of the most expensive modding projects of all time, one of its most ambitious, and it is backed by Unturned's biggest content creator of the current era. However, with all that being said, Unturned Blackout, only after a few months, has flopped hard. Now in today's video, I thought I'd go over why Unturned Blackout flopped, and my findings have concluded that there are only two real major reasons why Unturned Blackout has flopped so hard. One of the reasons being general mismanagement by P9 and other parties, and the second reason being divisions within the development team of Unturned Blackout, causing the game to stagnate in terms of updates. Now, there's been a lot of reviews for Unturned Blackout. I have one myself, but I haven't seen anyone talk about this, and this is like one of the biggest flops in the history of this entire game. There was so much money put into this, and it was backed by so many people, and for it to just flop like this, I'm surprised no one else has talked about it. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about it. I'm also going to be joined by Jakey because he's the one that gave me the idea for this video. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get started with the first part of this video, that being when Unturned Blackout released, it had a really good press run. A lot of people made videos about it, and on launch, the servers were always full. So how did this thriving mod turn into a wasteland? Well, most of it is due to P9 himself. On release, a lot of people made reviews for Unturned Blackout, and a lot of these reviews were actually paid for by P9 himself. P9 was giving deals to creators to promote his game for him, and this usually works with other games. However, with Unturned, it's a little bit different. P9 was promoting this game mode, and P9 was relying too much on these video promotions by other people when he should have been promoting Blackout more himself. P9 only made one video on Unturned Blackout on his actual YouTube channel. Now, he streamed the entire process of making Unturned Blackout and also made posts about it on Twitter, but those aren't really the best promotional platforms, considering not a lot of people follow P9 on Twitter and practically nobody watches P9 on Twitch. When P9 actually made a video on Unturned Blackout, it actually did decently well. I feel like if he made probably 5 more videos promoting it, the game mode probably would have had longer term success. P9 was basically trying to promote a game mode that he had spent thousands of dollars on developing without using his best promotional source available to him, which is his own YouTube channel. Not using his own channel was a major bag fumble for him, and it eventually affected him in the long run. But was this entirely on P9? Well, some people speculate no and have their own theory about why Blackout fell off. Now, before I go into this whole theory, I just want to make it very clear that it is indeed a theory. None of this stuff has been completely proven. However, with that being said, this theory explains a lot of unexplainable things that happened in this whole drama situation that happened back in December of 2022. Now, to summarize, this is what happened in this drama, and it is related to Unturned Blackout and Unturned Blackout being promoted. And it starts with this video made by Esterin. Now, Esterin is a Russian Unturned YouTuber, and he was offered a sponsorship deal from P9 himself to promote Unturned Blackout. Now, Esterin refused to take this deal and instead made his own unbiased Unturned Blackout review, and this review immediately caused a boatload of drama. Now, to summarize this drama, Esterin thought that P9 offering other creators money to promote Unturned Blackout was disingenuous because the review that people would be getting wouldn't be a legit review. It would be a sugar-coated review, basically only talking about the good things about Unturned Blackout because it's a paid review. Esterin also claimed that Unturned Blackout was pay to win, and also complained about the game's balance. Now, P9 saw this video and then made an 8-part thread going over the video and basically trying to debunk his video. Now, did he actually debunk his video? And was Esterin completely in the right? I don't know, but in general, the idea of just making your own unbiased review without taking any money is pretty respectable in my opinion. But this is where the drama gets wild and where the conspiracy theory comes in. So after P9 tweets about Esterin's video, Esterin went on to make a response video to P9's tweets. And then immediately after this, Tepsi, a huge Russian unturned YouTuber, made a new channel called Tepsi2 and immediately uploaded a video attempting to slander Esterin. After that video, Esterin then followed up with another video debunking everything that Tepsi said in his original video. And this is where this conspiracy theory comes in. After Tepsi's Unturned Drama Blackout video, P9 either paid or convinced Tepsi to go after Esterin. And then when Esterin made the response video to Tepsi, basically debunking everything that Tepsi said, there is a theory that this damaged Blackout's reputation so much that most Russians stopped playing Unturned Blackout, and this led to Blackout's inevitable decline. Now, do I think this theory is accurate? No, because I feel like this whole theory is very Russo-centric, and I don't think the Russian Unturned player base had that much of an influence on the success of Unturned Blackout. However, it just is an interesting theory, and the whole theory about P9 convincing Tepsi to go after Esterin, I almost believe it just because Tepsi, the YouTuber with 200,000 subscribers, randomly making a second channel just to go after Esterin after Esterin went after P9 makes almost zero sense. I mean, if you look at Tepsi's second channel, he created this only 2 days after Esterin released his initial video. And this channel was made only 1 day after P9 made an 8-thread tweet talking about Esterin and his video. So in conclusion, do I think Esterin's video killed Unturned Blackout? No. Do I think P9 convinced or paid Tepsi to go after Esterin? I don't know. I kind of almost believe it. It almost makes sense. Either Tepsi was really trying to suck P9's dick, or P9 convinced him to go after Esterin. I suppose we'll never know. But with that conspiracy theory out of the way, now we can get back to more grounded proof of Blackout's decline. At first, updates were coming out pretty regularly, but after an internal divide within the Unturned Blackout development team, updates stopped coming out. This divide was primarily with Paradox, the co-owner and the writer of all of the Blackout code. P9 only having one person write all of the code for Unturned Blackout was a huge misplay, because when you have one person write all the code, you can only have that person fix the code or add new stuff to the code. And if you try to get another person to go through code somebody else made, it typically doesn't go well, mostly because when one person works on code, it usually becomes spaghetti, especially when a project has volatile requirements. And according to Paradox, Blackout was very volatile. It's typically extremely difficult for one person to go through somebody else's code, let alone trying to add features to it. If you have a fallout with the person that wrote all of the code for you, that typically won't go well at all. And this is where we come to the second part of this video, which is... Okay, so this next segment of the video, I'm going to be joined by Jakey. Me and Jakey got into a Discord call to go over the screenshots, read them out, and discuss them. However, if I do need to give more context, I will do a voiceover and pause the recording of our Discord call. With that being said, I will now play me and Jakey's Discord call.
I was never paid for the plugin. I was offered a cut every month of the earnings, and that cut was interesting to say the least. The amount of work I put in, less than 30%, I was promised. The server would earn well, and I'd be paid for my $7,000 of work I did on this shit. Turns out Unturned isn't that good at paying. The server doesn't earn a lot, and I'm getting paid jack shit for what I worked for. And I am working every month. I brought it up with P9 before release. He denied an increase in the cut on basis it would pay well. I agreed. Now I asked him last month to go with the payment per hourly basis for the work I do, at least secure my future earnings and let go of that wasted $7,000 of work. $7,000 of work on an unturned server is actually fucking outrageous.
I knew a lot of modding went on, but like this guy's saying it was $7,000 worth of work and he got paid like nothing.
Yeah, usually like on like servers that I've worked on, we have a bunch of custom plugins that have a lot of those custom plugins, but those would really only add up to like less than $1,000. So $7,000 is actually like a crazy amount. He denied and accused me of sabotaging the project, and I am only in it for the money. Which one, when you put in something like 9 months of work, when and quit uni, as he goes on to say, I would be wanting to get paid for the work that I did. And yes, if I quit uni to do this shit, I would only be in it for the money because how the fuck else would I earn money?
So he quit university to fucking do this, and he got paid nothing.
He didn't get paid nothing. He just didn't get paid what he worked for, which is a bullshit thing. Kind of like a sweatshop, you know what I mean?
And then when he asked for an increase in a wage, P9 basically told him he was only in it for the money. Is that a little ironic? I mean,
Yeah, because I guarantee you, talking to P9, like he was only in it for the money too. But I can't. That's just my guess. But I can't really say on what his thoughts are. There's some colorful talks after this. We came to a deal where this will be my last month working, and I would be paid by the hour. He'll find someone else to take over from me as I couldn't be asked to work with this guy any longer. Then after this month, he'd pay me per month for the plugin, and I'd give him access to the code for the new guy to work on it in 5 months. It will be paid, and I'll be gone. Keep in mind, the amount is way, way, way smaller than 10K, less than half. What the fuck?
so like max, this guy only made $3,000 for $7,000 worth of work, maybe even less.
Now this month comes and he says he has to go to the hospital or something and will be delayed. Then I see that fucking announcement on the Discord announcing that I have left and presented a twisted version of the story as to I abandoned it, and he is taking a break from this shit.
I would like to see the announcement that P9 made. I have not seen that announcement,
I
actually.
couldn't, he banned me from the the Blackout Discord, so I wouldn't be able to see
I'm
it.
actually in there. I could look. I'm going to take a look right now. This was posted on the 31st of January. I think this has to be the announcement that I'm quoting it there verbatim, that image.
Yeah.
I just copy pasted it. It's not an image. He said that Paradox was the lead developer and co-owner, decided to quit.
And stopped working on it. To me, this is extremely frustrating seeing the project which I have put that much heart and soul into just to be abandoned. Honestly, P9, I'm going to be honest here, Paradox put in probably way more work than you did, seeing how I know how plugins are made, and the shit that he was doing, especially for Unturned, is phenomenal, and probably hours upon hours upon hours of work were put into this.
I know he worked. P9 did work on some stuff. I don't know the extent.
Media and testing shit like that.
It couldn't have been more than like 10% of the entire thing, I don't think. Maybe max like 10%.
Honestly, we don't really have the right to say anything on this point, but I'm just saying that there's no way, there's no feasible possible way that he could have put more work in than Paradox.
No, he definitely didn't. So
Yeah, I'm sure he put in a lot of work, but it wasn't more than Paradox. As you can imagine, the plugin is very complex and rich in code. So unfortunately, it is not simple as hiring another developer to take over. You should have thought of this in the first place when you decided to underpay.
honestly, like this is what I would have done, but like again, I've never done a like plugin mod, whatever you want to call it, of this magnitude ever. I have done web design work, and I did have a team of people that would help me. You pay them upfront. You upfront pay them to work.
Yeah.
I think what P9 should have done is if that work was worth like $7,000, and if he knew that, or he knew it was going to be upwards of that, he probably should have paid him half of that upfront.
Exactly.
And then when he was done, he pay him the other half. The guy should have been just paid outright. But I guess instead they came to an agreement that a percentage of the server's revenue would be given to him, but the server did not generate the amount of money they thought it would. Now there's actually like straight up nobody playing it, right? Like barely anyone plays Blackout right now.
Like, it's dead. Blackout is dead. You'll see some EU players on, but uh, I'm sure that Paradox and P9 thought that because P9 is so big that the server was going to just blow up, which it did at first. I will not deny that. Blackout was fun for about 2 hours. The reason why people play Unturned is because, there's every time you hop into a server, something different's going to happen. And with Blackout, there wasn't the updates. Like it wasn't getting updated to the point that there was new shit and it was something fun to do. There was the same game modes over and over again, the same people, and you're just killing people over and over again. And at that point, it gets. I brought up this point with my friends, and it's like, well, you play MW2, like well, I play Warzone, like MW2 Warzone, which not always the same shit's gonna happen in Warzone, but with Blackout, you spawn, you get killed, or you get some kills, you spawn again, and basically that was it. Uh, the maps were well made, I will admit, but like again, it just wasn't. It was fun. It's not something I personally could just play over and over again.
Yeah, I can see it getting repetitive.
Yeah, it's just a repetitive, very repetitive way of going about it, and I feel like that's why a lot of people just dropped it and stopped playing because it got boring, which it did. Going back to the announcement, developer take over the entire code was written by one person, which only that person is able to properly work with it and make changes without breaking the entire plugin. I won't stop to look for possible and feasible long-term solutions to continue maintaining and updating the server. The fact that Unturned updates regularly break workshop content and all assets errors are still occurring all the time after 7 years, the game being out, is not making the situation better. Due to personal reasons, I have been taking one more time off the internet, as he says that as he posted a video yesterday. Uh, recently for both of my mental and physical health, which is why I have not been active in the chats of the Blackout servers. With current versions for now will stay online are not planned to be taken down anytime soon. I will let you know if there are any updates regarding this situation. Apologies for all this is happening to the server you enjoyed playing. I have and always will try my best.
This isn't necessarily him talking about like Paradox, but I noticed this. He said this like statement in this announcement you just read to me, and I heard it, and like I feel like I always read him weird, and I always read like something he'll say in like a negative connotation or whatever. But like this feels like he's complaining about the game too. He says the fact that unturned updates regularly break workshop content and all asset errors still occurring all the time after 7 years of the game being out is not making the that feels like he's does this not feel like he's complaining about the game here? Is that really? I don't think that there's I don't know like anything about this, but surely that's not entirely Nelson's fault. Isn't that a thing with Steam?
It is a thing with Steam, and once those happen, it won't take less than it will take less than 24 hours for Nelson to go in and fix it. Obviously, I play on modded servers, as you know, and I also have staffed on modded servers, and plugins do break, but honestly, it just takes a little long. It takes less than 12 hours for Nelson to be like, oh shit, I need to fix this. And Nelson's always been good about that, so I don't really know why that fact was brought in.
It's not that big of a deal. It's just it's a little interesting thing in this announcement.
Yeah, here's the math that Paradox did for what he should be owed if he worked an hourly rate. It was 11 months of work, 2 months I took off, so 9 months, a 9 to 18, which is like 9 to 5. I don't work on weekends usually, and sometimes Ed was ill, so 162 days, 3 hours of work. I am being really generous here. I have worked upwards to 10 to 12 hours a day, as well as doing a loadout and shit. So that's 486 hours. 15. The hourly rate is $15. So 15 times 486 would be up to $7,290. So he gave him a free 7,300 bucks basically.
Literally free. And manual labor, he gave him like 7 grand for free.
Yeah, let's go to the interesting DMs of P9 and Paradox, shall we?
Yeah, let's read these because I heard these were really bad. I read through some of them, and like literally everyone I talked to said that this makes them look terrible. I personally did not read through all of them. I read through like some of them, and I don't really remember everything because it's been a couple weeks since this whole thing started. So
It's pretty bad. It doesn't give P9 any like good light. And everything all right? Question mark, question mark. Electricity just came back. Did you test Battle Pass? Doesn't work. Join the server and see for yourself. Like nothing works at all. Join the server. I can't right now. I am opening my laptop. No progress on unboxing or summary. Nope, I'll do it today. Dot dot dot. Bro, I have no internet, no electricity since yesterday. You can check the news.
and then we go to the next screenshot.
I wasn't.
There's chat missing here,
Yeah.
actually. So we don't know what was set up here. But P9 said something, and then Paradox says, I wasn't.
Question mark, question mark. I came for like 5 minutes and left as my electricity went down. The company said it should be good now. You already lied to me about not being able to get on in the past. The same with Shariko. And then Paradox is from Pakistan, so he sends him a newsletter. Uh, uh, Heavy rain lashed Pakistan, and it's cracky, inundated,
Due
inundated
to rain, water.
rainwater and death,
So there's like actually like a weather disaster,
like a flood, flooding
like a
that is possible.
flood, and his internet went out, presumably due to there being a fuck ton of water everywhere. But P9 thinks, I guess, that he is lying.
Paradox says, I'm not lying. P9 says, you wanted to get major stuff done by yesterday, and even after that electricity stop thing, it was just delays after delays. You have to be more dedicated, otherwise the project will fail. I am starting unboxing today. Yeah, you told me that a couple times already, lol. Not talking about the breaking news thing for the past day before that. I did say last week that I had personal issues, which I get.
So it's kind of, I kind of see irony here, because P9 right now is taking a break from the internet due to personal mental issues, he said in his announcement. Now, I do know he's been in the hospital. He did tweet literally pictures of him in a hospital bed, so that is like, yeah, okay, yeah, you shouldn't be worrying about unturned stuff while in the hospital. But P9 also mentioned mental reasons why he's not online, and I kind of think that's ironic, because P9 is saying, oh, I'm taking a break due to mental, but when Paradox says he has personal issues, which I don't know if it's like, this is kind of an assumption, because I don't know like if his issues were mental or not, but he's saying he has personal issues and he's taking a break, and P9's getting upset at him for that. I just think it's kind of ironic, because isn't P9 taking a break due to personal issues? Like, we don't know what's going on with this guy. Like, maybe he has burnout because he put in all of this work and is getting absolutely nothing out of it, which I can kind of understand myself, not like currency wise, but like, let's say I make like a video that isn't unturned, I get like 50% less viewership on non-unturned stuff. It's kind of demoralizing. Like, you put the same amount of effort, even more so effort, into something that you're passionate about, and barely anyone watches it. But if you put an hour into like some shitty unturned video, that gets like double the views. It's kind of the same thing with him. Oh, he put in $7,000 worth of work. He was promised a percentage of this thing he's working on, and he'd get his money back, and he makes like less than half. So he's probably demoralized by that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was distressed enough to the point where he had to share these screenshots with just some random guy and have him post it all over. Being promised a lot of money and then not getting it, and being demoralized from putting in all this work and getting basically nothing from it. Like, I can see that as a personal issue and why he'd want to take a break. I don't know. I think P9 here is kind of being unfair to him, I feel.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fucked up. All right. You know a drama is juicy when you get a twit longer. We got twit longer blackout situation. So let me read this. 1 year ago, I reached out to a few developers regarding a project I had planned. It was supposed to be a rather regular kit PvP server, but I needed someone for the plugins and UI. I ended up starting on it with Paradox, and from that day we worked almost every day side to side. The first thing to say, I have learned a lot about project development and what comes with it. A bit part of it is the right communication, which wasn't bad before but could be improved. I always put Blackout in the first place. I feel like he meant to say I always put Blackout first, and would do anything in my power to ensure that it turns out the best way possible. I have now seen that Paradox shared private conversations from the past, making me seem like this evil corporate boss. To start off, yes, there have been many times when both I and Paradox have been frustrated about the progress or how things were developing. When building up a project this size, it is normal to push each other to work faster and better. Some messages may seem really abrupt, but these were normal in our DMs from both his and my side, as there are over 42,000 separate separate messages in our DMs. More than enough to make someone look a certain way. There were countless accusations where Paradox had to take time off development because of personal stuff, all of which was always fine to me. The screenshots just show me being frustrated about something that was said to be done but hasn't been done at this point, as Paradox often had times where he would just tell me tomorrow for a few days straight, you can be the nicest guy and not make sure that development is done, but then you would never be able to archive something like Blackout. I think he meant to say achieve. You'd never be able to achieve something like Blackout. This is why 90% of Unturned projects or maps never release. There isn't enough dedication behind it. There needs to be at least one person planning and directing others to stay efficient and organized. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. This is so fucking long. Holy shit. In the Discord announcement, I stated that Paradox has decided to leave the project, and knowing that he plays an important part means it will be abandoned. I never wanted to start any stupid drama or make it unnecessarily complicated, so I held back with a lot of information about Paradox. The users deserve to know why there have not been any updates in a while, and why there probably won't be anytime soon. I have gotten a few DMs after asking why Paradox left. To all I just mentioned that he lost motivation and has personal issues. I never made him seem bad. Paradox is saying that he is not completely for the money, which is not true at all. Paradox's only motivation has been to make money off of it, which isn't necessarily bad, as everyone needs to be paid for their work, but I don't know why he would lie about it now. The reason he is quitting is that he is not making as much money as he expected or hoped. He left his uni not long after he started with it, partially also due to how hard it was for him, and his mentioning every other day how he doesn't understand what's going on there. From the beginning, we have mutually agreed upon a certain percentage of all profits made, with Blackout for as long as we are both working on it. All investments made for maps, guns, mods, music, animation, or anything else really came from my own pocket, not knowing for certain if the server would ever even release or be successful. The servers were hosted by my personal sponsors. Paradox knew he would not earn anything before the release, but rather own a share. He is now making out how I have received free 7,290 because this is the amount he would be earning when getting paid $15 an hour for the time he was working on it. I never received free money. Paradox was paid every month for what was agreed on down to the cent. This was the model we went by, as it would keep both dedicated to working on it. Us, he forgot to put us. Okay, I'm sorry. Dude, I get confused because, like, I know he isn't primarily English, but I know he has Grammarly, so I don't know how this stuff slips through the cracks, but that's not important. When Paradox mentioned anything about the money, whether it was for a new computer or his uni, I offered to borrow him the money if he ever needs it. He knew that worst case, I would be helping him out financially. He mentioned that he was promised the server to earn well, and this is not true. I never promised anything because I can't. I shared my opinion and told him that I wouldn't work as much on it if I didn't believe it would. In the end, Blackout did make a good amount of revenue in its first months, with the second month being lower, and this is when Paradox decided to quit. Paradox was responsible for the plugin and later on making UI changes. I was responsible for creating the map, setting up everything, and making sure it was balanced, reaching out to all modders and devs about commissions, skins, and cases.
P9, I talked to the Blackout map developer, so P9 didn't make any of the maps, and most of the maps were ported, so...
So he says I was responsible for creating the maps, but he didn't make all of the maps? I think he should have said I was responsible for hiring people to create the maps.
Yeah.
Because this makes it sound like he personally made the maps, but he didn't.
And this is what I said earlier. I'm sure he was in charge of a lot of the media and hiring and stuff like that.
Reaching out to all modders and devs about commissions, skins, cases. Well, he does say reaching out here, but it kind of just it's worded weird. But I guess we can let it slide because again, German. And almost all render/graphics/art game design, all the ideas later on. Also learned Unity to be able to make more changes to the mod itself so we could work more effectively. I've been working on this way more than Paradox did, and on top, used all my other social media as well as private funds to keep it up. Whilst Paradox could focus on coding and nothing else, I managed everything from giving him every single idea down to the smallest detail, to the Discord server advertisements and everything else. I put all my heart and energy into this, partially abandoning my YouTube, Twitch, and other network servers. Paradox only joined the server after release a handful amount of times. He did not know what was going on the server. Besides all of that, Paradox mentioned many times how in the event he is not interested in the project anymore, he would send me the code. Last month, Paradox suddenly messaged me that he does not want to continue working on Blackout with what was agreed on. As a response, I have made him a better offer where he'd be earning more than before. He has thought about it and ended up declining it. He broke the agreement that everything was built on for the past year and now wanted to be paid on an hourly basis suddenly. After some work back and forth, he then mentioned how he would just sell the code or make it public if I didn't accept his plan, whilst he was the one developing the code. It was purely made for Blackout servers based on our agreements. It's not okay to threaten me and sell/publish the plugin just because he's not happy with the revenue the server made for 1 month. During some heated back and forth, Paradox would just block me, leaving me in the dark, not knowing what was going on. During those days, I was completely shattered, knowing that the project I was working on so hard was basically not going to continue. A few days later, I got sent to the hospital for emergency surgery on my kidney, which all of this could have played a part in it, as it could have also be caused due to stress. So you can imagine how fucked up everything was. I never wanted to make it a bigger deal publicly than it is, but Paradox keeps sharing this stuff behind my back and making me seem like an absolute devil is not right. All I did publicly was announce that Paradox is leaving. I am not going to share any private conversation, as this is still a no-go for me. But if I end up getting accused of more by Paradox, I may share some screenshots to prove my innocence. I hope this twit longer cleared up some confusion and put some light on what was really going on.
So to summarize that wall of text, this is a he said, she said situation. P9 is saying one thing and Paradox is saying the other. Paradox is saying P9 is a massive corporate boss, and P9 is saying that Paradox is this code pirate that's going to sell off the code that they agreed not to sell. I can't tell you who is right and who is wrong in this situation because both of them could just be bullshitting. However, what we do know is that Unturned Blackout, the most expensive, the biggest modding project in history, might just get leaked by the lead developer. I can't say whether or not it is going to get leaked. I don't know. I did reach out to Paradox to see if he had any rebuttal or any statements he wanted me to include in this video, and he said he had nothing to say. So I don't know what's going to happen between him and P9. From what Paradox told me, they're not talking at all at this point. And as for Blackout, it is practically doomed because from what I understand, Paradox is not coming back and he was the guy that wrote all of the code. And without him, Blackout can't get new features and Blackout can't be developed further. Unless P9 finds somebody else willing to go through all that code and add stuff to it, nothing is going to be done for Unturned Blackout. And from what I hear, the coding and modding community for Unturned want nothing to do with P9. They don't even want to work with him. After this whole Paradox schism and the DMs being released, practically everybody that wanted to work with P9 has since stopped wanting to work with him, from what I have heard. So that's pretty much it. Unturned Blackout is doomed. Unless P9 can find another developer to run Blackout that's willing to work with him, Blackout is dead. And if the code gets released to the public, there's going to be a shit ton of other servers running Unturned Blackout, which means that P9's Unturned Blackout might be dead, but the actual mod may live on other servers. We'll have to see. With that being said, that was the video. I know it was a long one. I know we read a lot of walls of text, but in order to understand the situation, we had to do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.